The motivation for creating this course has always been to help people answer a simple question: how can I find peace in my life? So far, we've been talking about happiness as having the right mindset and being content with whatever you have right now. But there's a deeper experience that claims to go way beyond happiness, and it's usually referred to as inner peace or even spiritual bliss. And we're told that in order to find it, we need to look within and discover a space that's beyond the mind. Now, although this message has been around for thousands of years, we don't really hear much about it in our normal lives. So what is it all about? Is it an experience that's only reserved for the best monks and meditators who've spent years trying to silence their mind? In this final lesson, we're going to be exploring what is inner peace? What's stopping us from living in peace? And how can we spread peace throughout the world? The Guru Granth Sahib teaches us, everything is within the home of the self. Nothing is outside. By searching outside, one is mistakenly deluded. By the Guru's grace, whoever finds it within has inner and outer peace. What the wisdom is pointing to is not some temporary experience that you have during a meditation. Instead, it's finding a joy throughout your day. This inner peace is really about learning the art of sacred living. And that's another way to think about Naam, which we mentioned in the first lesson. So, why aren't we in peace all the time? What's stopping us? Well, you and I are walking around our whole life wearing a lens that we call me or mine. Think of it as a colored pair of glasses that change how we see the world. I like to think of it as me thinking. It's the same as the ego mind that we've talked about before. And with this lens, we focus on the me as the central character of our life. We believe that the me is always good, and our problems are always caused by something or someone else. And in order to find peace, we believe we have to fix everything that's wrong on the outside. The spiritual masters teach us to deal with this me, the receiver of problems, the thing that the problems are always stuck to. Whenever they mention the ego, that's what they're really talking about. It's not about a sense of superiority, it's the belief that I am or I exist. And these masters have found a way to let go of the me and still function in life, still have a career and a job and look after their families. But now, everything that they do is done in bliss and harmony. There are two steps that you need to take in order to get there. The first is to practice rising up into your higher mind. Whenever I travel on a plane and leave my home in London, it's almost always raining or cloudy. And every time I'm surprised when the plane rises above the clouds, the sky is clear no matter what the weather is below. It makes me question, what is the real weather? Is it cloudy or sunny? Well, it turns out it depends where you're looking from. If you look from below, it's always storm clouds. But if we look from above, the sky is always clear. And the same is true in our own minds. If we use our lower mind or our higher mind, it gives a completely different perspective on our problems. So what is this higher mind? Well, it's a part of you that you've rarely accessed. I wonder if you've ever noticed yourself being really angry at someone. Whether you've watched yourself shouting and screaming at someone else. And this means that you are able to observe your own thoughts. You're able to know whether you're happy or sad. And what this demonstrates is that as well as a body and thoughts, we have something beyond that we can call your awareness. It's only your body and mind that experiences pain and pleasure, but your awareness is always at peace. It's unaffected by your day-to-day experiences. And whether you're rich or poor, happy or sad, it remains the same all the time. This higher mind always feels complete, whole, and tranquil because it isn't attached to anything. It doesn't identify with your body, your mind, or your day-to-day problems. And it's this that's been called by many names, such as the true nature, your higher self, the soul, divine spirit, or even the universal life force. The wisdom reminds us that even this shouldn't be called me or mine, but that we can access it throughout our day by being neutral and at peace with our surroundings. Try it the next time you go for a walk. See if you can do it without grabbing the next thought, label, or desire that your mind brings up. And if you need a little reminder, look up and take a look at the sky. And remember that the sky is always clear, no matter what the weather is. So the first step to inner peace is to practice rising up into your higher mind. And you'll find that when you do this, there is a lot of contentment and compassion that arises within you. And this leads you on to step 2, to serve at every moment. When you're in a state of inner peace, an impulse often arises that says, how can I serve in this moment? And it's a realization that my ego is not the most important thing to serve right now. And this is a major shift from how we live our lives, a move away from our self-serving nature. This is the total opposite of how we've been living. Our whole life has been about personal gain and benefiting ourselves. And this is what's left us constantly unsettled. But with inner peace, we realize that the universe is always serving us with breath, with a healthy body, with food in our fridge, with friends and family who support us, with a house and a warm bed to sleep in. And so when we realize all these things, we come to understand that it's time to give back. A life of service is not just about doing a lot of charity work. It's about interacting with everything as though it's sacred, almost like a god. You know, India is famous for being the land of 1,000,000 gods. And today in the modern world, we see ideas like that as being primitive. But I think there's a beautiful lesson to be learned in that everything is sacred, that we have a sense of reverence towards everything. The Indian greeting Namaste literally means I bow to you. The Guru Granth Sahib teaches us, within each and everything is you, O my beloved, and I bow to your powerful nature. I know that in the world today, a lot of people have a real issue with this idea of a God, a being with a personality, some sort of decision maker. And that's why I prefer to think of it as a oneness, an essence that's the same inside all of us, whatever name you want to give it. And with this realization comes a sense of selfless living, which doesn't mean that you don't do anything for yourself. It means that you live with a sense of compassion for all. Now, your ego mind, the lower mind, will resist this teaching because it's always wanted to serve itself first. But we have to remember that our self-serving nature is what's left us feeling empty in the past. In my own personal life, ever since I got married, I've always tried to make sure that my wife and my children get more than I do. Like when I'm preparing food, I always make sure that I give them the bigger portion. And what it's made me realize is that there's a real joy in serving, even if the other person doesn't know that they're being served. So here's your practice for this lesson. At each moment, try to see if you can serve everything. And even if you don't like the idea of a God, see it as though you were serving your own child. Now, this happens a lot easier when you have contentment within. But you don't have to wait for that perfection. You can start serving today. So here's a recap of the 2 steps to achieving inner and outer peace. Step 1 is to practice rising up into your higher mind. And step 2, serve at every moment. Some concerns that you may have with all this is, will this make me too weak? Does being too peaceful still allow me to be successful and competitive in the world? And to help answer this, I can only share with you my personal experience. I've been there, spent years trying to pursue a career, success, money, and what I realized is this hustle mindset always leaves you miserable. But there's no restriction with this wisdom. If you want a big business, to fly around in private jets and have all the fame in the world, go for it. But just don't do it for happiness, because peace is available to you right now. And this isn't some unachievable goal. The Guru Granth Sahib was written by people from a variety of different backgrounds, some of whom were really rich and some of whom were quite poor. But they all found this long-lasting inner peace. And when they did, they talk about this transformative impact that it has on their lives. With this wisdom, you really don't have to abandon anything in your lifestyle, except for your mental attachments and sense of control. You can still be with all of your comforts and your loved ones. You just no longer see yourself as the keeper of these things. This brings total freedom and bliss through detachment. As we come to the end of this course, I want to talk about how you can start to build a relationship with this wisdom. Because I really can't stress how important it is that you have a daily exposure to these teachings. Whether it's attending more classes, watching videos online, or even just reading the Guru's words. I must admit that it took me a long time to understand this, but now I see it like brushing my teeth. I never wake up in the morning and think, well, I brushed my teeth yesterday, why do I need to do it today? We all understand that dirt accumulates daily. And in the same way, the ego mind returns and sticks to us. And if we're not careful, it's so easy to fall back into the trap of suffering and endless desires. And when we access this wisdom, it works as a daily reset, a reminder of our divine nature. We can then combine it with a practice such as mantra, mindfulness, or meditation. I know in my own life, the use of mantra, that is, repetition of wisdom words, has been extremely effective in helping me maintain this awareness. And what all these practices do is remold our thoughts away from the ego mind to realize that everything is this universal life force and to see everything as a blessing. So here are your final questions to reflect upon and discuss. Do you feel that inner peace conflicts with your worldly pursuits? Are there times when you would find it difficult to have a service mindset? What are the key learnings from this course that you hope to apply to your life? What are some important next steps for you to take in your own spiritual practice? It's been my absolute pleasure to share this course with you. My hope is that you found the teachings useful as a way to understand your own self better, and that you continue to use the wisdom of the Guru to guide you throughout your life. If you found it helpful, please do encourage your friends and family to take this course. Thank you, and I hope to see you again soon.